really understanding what it is that makes a guy hit a ball hard, if you took any bat, there is a spot that's absolutely perfect, a sweet spot. And we all have done that little trick, I think, to kind of get an idea as to where that is. But in order to get to hit a ball absolutely perfect, and I know this is getting a little anal for people, but to hit a ball absolutely perfect, you have to get that exact spot to a round baseball that's moving at crazy speeds with crazy Kelvin Escobar movement. And just with this simple idea, guys are not able to do that very well. About 40% efficiency is what we found out on the average. When we started moving the velocities here and here, which is the extreme of how you use velocity with a fastball, this thing becomes 86 and this one 95. All of a sudden now, guys were really bad at getting 100% on-time contact. The converse of that, which is why the tilt thing, Jerry, became really important to me, because the Astros are still convinced that the tilt is really good in that direction too. But from my perspective, these two pitches are exactly the same as the radar gun tells us. So they don't have any tricks to the eyes. And so guys were more on time to that all the time. As soon as we started adding other variable speeds, as soon as we took a little bit off of this and kept this velocity the same, neither one of those pitches looked like, or it didn't appear the same as the radar gun told us. So the second you start throwing in another speed, things get ridiculous. As we described, that 100% on-time contact, and there's a lot of discussion out there about the philosophy of mechanics. I don't care what the mechanical idea is, but from my perspective, you need to get to the point of where you're the strongest possible position. You can define it any way you want. You can be here, you can be here, you can be wherever you want to. But if it stays the same, if you use the same measuring stick every single time as to what 100% on-time contact is, this is a very difficult thing to do when you have a guy that is throwing all kinds of nasty stuff. Our idea is if you are throwing a pitch that's absolutely dead central to the plate, and I hit it perfectly on the sweet spot of the bat with 100% efficiency mechanically, the ball is going to go exactly in the center, right where it came from. So it's going to come right back past the pitcher's ear. Any other ball is not perfect. Now, I like it when you get just underneath it and it leaves the yard, but that ball's not perfect. Now, again, it sounds anal, but the idea is if you don't have a perfect spot, then you can't have a measurement. And so that's how we went about trying to decide what perfect was. So if a guy was 100% on-time contact to a ball in the middle of the plate, he's hitting in the middle of the field. And if he's perfect as far as all this other stuff, then he's going to hit it absolutely dead straight on the line that it came off of. That doesn't happen very often. There's 48,000 pitches over the last 2 years at Major League Baseball in the very center of the strike zone. 48,000 pitches. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know how many have whistled exactly past the pitcher's ear. You know, you've seen a few of those happen, but you see them how often on ESPN? I don't think that the percentage is more than 1% of balls that are hit perfect. This is one of those examples of a guy who has his attention in place other than where the ball is. Because for him to be 100% on time, he's going to have to get the bat head to a place further out in front. And this is a typical example of a ball that's definitely +1 or probably more like +2 time units. Because if you do the math on that, that is about the distance between where, if you could imagine where his perfect contact point has to be for him to be on time, my estimation is that he's about 60% on time. And 60% is something that we can't deal with as a hitter. From a pitcher's perspective, that's perfect. We want all contact to be under 80% on time. This is the one thing, there's a couple things that kind of counteract effective velocity a little bit, and one of those things is having the bat head in plane for the longest time possible, and Paul would probably argue with me a little bit about this, but if you envision that the basic flight of the pitch is downward by 5 degrees, and the bat head is upward by 5 degrees, then they're in line for a certain distance. From my perspective of mechanics, the longer period that they're in that line, the better chance you have, because your timing can be off a little bit and still get away with it. In this case, I don't know what's going to happen here, but if he's late, he's not going to be late very much, and he's going to hit the ball pretty close to 70 or 80% on time. If if he's early